My sister and I saved the richest man in town. He gave us two choices. Take $1 million or marry his son. We heard his only son was ugly, so my sister begged me to marry him. Turned out the son was Beck, the school's heartthrob, and he treated me like a queen after we got married. Meanwhile, my sister got hooked on gambling, lost her money, and got scammed. Out of jealousy, she pushed me off a building but fell herself. When I opened my eyes again, we were both back to the day of the choice. She was quick to choose marriage, but I laughed. $1 million sounded way better than marrying a psycho. Uncle, I choose to marry your son, she said, trembling with excitement, her eyes full of greed. I smirked. So my sister was reborn too, huh? I was just thinking about how to make her marry him. Talk about luck. The richest man smiled kindly at me. Adela, you're the older one, you choose first. My sister was lively and direct, not the best match for his son, but I was calm and obedient, easy to handle. She tugged at my hand, a threatening look in her eyes. Sis, I heard his son's ugly and has a bad temper. You can't handle that kind of hardship, so I'll marry him. I smiled slightly. Are you sure? Won't regret it. She shook her head wildly. Absolutely not. I'll even tell Mom and Dad good things about you and won't take your stuff again. I grinned meaningfully. All right. Just remember what you said today. Then I turned to the millionaire. Uncle, I'll take the $1 million. He looked a bit regretful. All right then. My sister's eyes twinkled with dreams of joining the wealthy Givenchys family, with a handsome, loving husband and endless riches. Dad, don't worry. I'll take good care of you with my husband. The doctor says I'm healthy. I'll give you 2 grandkids in 3 years. Tell me if I do anything wrong. I'll change for sure. Before she even got in, she was calling him Dad, her words sweet as sugar. Finally, the richest man smiled with a knowing look. All right, with those words, I'm at ease. Our family has one rule. Only till death do us part. No divorce. My sister's smile grew brighter, thinking this was a blessing from above. She nodded quickly. Don't worry, Dad. No matter what, I won't divorce my husband. I looked down at the new sprouts on the lawn, a mocking smile on my lips. In the past life, he never said this, because they knew I was loyal and they used my parents' lives to keep me in check, not letting me fight back. As for my sister, money was enough for her. A greedy, selfish sister and a twisted devil prince. Perfect match. As soon as my sister set foot in the house, she ecstatically announced the huge news. Mom, Dad, I'm marrying the richest man's son, Beck. I'll be Mrs. Beck soon. Dad jumped up from the couch in shock. Kara, is this real? You're not joking. Mom pointed to the news of the millionaire donating $1.3 billion to his alma mater, her fingers trembling. You mean him? My sister lifted her chin like a proud peacock. Who else? Beck's the heartthrob from our university. You saw him when you signed me up. Super handsome and gentle. Dad already said we'll have a grand wedding in 2 weeks on a good day. You'll be in-laws with the richest family. Isn't that great? How could it not be? Mom's eyes were red with joy, and Dad hurried to get her some fruit and drinks. Mom gulped. The richest man donates $1.3 billion just like that. Imagine how much he's worth. My sister basked in their admiration, even sneering at me from the corner of her eye. Of course, their business is mainly in real estate and luxury goods. They have more money than they can spend in a lifetime. You know that high-end office building in the city center with the highest rent? That's theirs. They don't charge rent, they charge land lease. The richest man said they have one rule, no divorce. It's funny, who'd want to leave once you're in that family? You'd laugh yourself awake dreaming about it. I watched my animated sister with a knowing smile. I could feel her joy. The richest family did have wealth beyond measure, and could spend it however they pleased without issue. But everything comes at a cost. Especially with such a shrewd businessman. He donated $1.3 billion to cover up his son Beck's involvement in a student's death, paying off everyone who knew the secret. And my sister's wedding in 2 weeks isn't without reason. It hides a lot of sins behind the grand celebration. Mom was smart, catching on quickly. If the richest man is so generous, what did he give Adela? My sister shrugged. Just $1 million. Her dismissive words made my parents' eyes light up with excitement, rubbing their hands together. Adela, a girl doesn't need that much money. Let me keep it safe for you. I'll give it to you when you need it. I chuckled sarcastically. Things were different yet exactly the same as before. In the past, my sister had her $1 million to use freely, staying pretty while I had to fork over more for her, because marrying into a good family meant I should help them out. My sister was younger and sweeter, so she was unbelievably cherished. So, she gets twice as much allowance as me every month, yet I still have to buy her snacks. No matter how well I do on exams, they only go to my sister's parent-teacher meetings. Any argument between me and her is always my fault, because I'm the older sister. but I'm only 1 minute older than her. Dad, Mom, it's not that I don't want to give the money, but it was given to me by the richest man, and you took it away. What do you think they'll say? That our family is selling daughters for glory. Even when she marries over there, she'll be seen as lower. I casually made this up, but my parents and sister totally bought it. My sister waved her hand grandly. Forget it. What's $1 million anyway? Dad and Mom, don't ask sis for it anymore. Once I successfully marry Beck, we'll have as much money as we want. But sis, you have to promise not to appear in front of Beck or stay at home anymore. I guess she's worried something might happen between me and Beck. I smirked, thinking, how did I not find my sister this adorable before? Now, everything she does cracks me up. Sure, I'll pack my bags right now. Without your word, I definitely won't come back. I wish you and your future husband a happy life and lots of kids. My sister was so pleased with how well I was playing along. She nodded and said, sis, your words are so sweet. If you continue to behave this way, I might even reward you with some cash in the future. I laughed brighter than her and packed everything in 10 minutes. With my suitcase, I hurriedly left home. Everything worked out so well that I couldn't help but laugh out loud in the taxi. No more jealous sister, no more monstrous husband, no more greedy, biased parents. The sky was blue, and the wind even seemed more romantic. $1 million can do a lot, like buying a well-furnished apartment in the city center, ready to move into, complete with security patrol. Then, starting a business, basically stock trading. In my past life, I had a keen interest in trading, just playing around with some pocket money. Though I lost quite a bit, I remembered a few stocks that never fail. Those get-rich-quick stocks are typically manipulated by insiders. I noted some, but was never bold enough to sink everything into them. I played it safe and spread the investments out. It's never wrong to be low-key. As for other sectors like dining, clothing, beauty, didn't interest me much. But e-commerce, I see big potential there. It'll probably eat up 70% of brick and mortar stores in the future. After registering the company and choosing a location, I received the wedding invitation from my sister and Beck. It was exquisite, with golden wheat ears and emerald details. My sister video called me from the garden of the Givenchys manor, servants standing nearby. Talk about living it up. Did you get the invite, sis? I waved the invite with a smile. Got it. It's so pretty. Her eyes gleamed with pride. It's custom made. The wheat is gold, and those jewels, genuine jade. Each invite cost over $8,000. I faked being impressed. Wow, must have cost a lot. She smirked. Not really, just a few million. For our Givenchy family, it's nothing. Did you see the handwriting on the invite? Isn't it beautiful? Beck wrote it all. Handsome guy with nice handwriting. Sis, don't you regret listening to me and passing on Beck? Gently tracing the calligraphy on the invite. I grinned, of course not. Seeing you this happy makes me happy too. She sneered, sis, you're such a pushover. I bullied you before, and I still do now. Guess you'll always be under my foot. I pretended not to get it, and after her gloating, she finally hung up feeling satisfied. Looking at the handwriting, I know it all too well. Beck's got the looks, always with that easygoing smile, seemingly harmless. Especially those long, elegant hands, perfect for piano and that calligraphy. Even when doing cruel things, those hands looked beautiful. He loved writing, making me kneel to grind ink for him, forcing me to bear his scorn. Just remembering a few snippets made me drenched in a cold sweat. Beck was an unresolved thorn in my heart. If I couldn't handle him, he'd haunt me forever. Glancing at the screen with stocks glowing hot, watching my $300,000 grow to $3 million, something unthinkable before. Why not dream bigger? Envy the richest, be the richest, surpass them. The wedding was touted as a $300 million affair. My sister's tiara once belonged to a princess, guarded by 3 bodyguards, must be precious. Her gown custom made, her smile outshining the sun. Beck looked dashing in his black suit, on par with any celeb. A picture-perfect couple, especially as he knelt, confessing, Cara, I'll cherish you forever. You'll never regret marrying me. My sister teared up, nodding fiercely. Yes, I believe you. Cheers roared. Many wept in joy, except for the groomsmen, their eyes full of mocked amusement. They weren't any better, typically causing trouble together. As long as they didn't meddle in family business, their wasteful antics were just pocket change to their parents. During the toast, as the bride's sister, I couldn't just leave. So in this life, meeting Beck for the first time, I tried to keep my head down, staying unnoticed. But it still caught Beck's attention. He said with a smirk, even though you're my wife's older sister, I think this is our first meeting, right? I heard you're busy. Busy with what? You didn't even come to the family dinner. I had no choice but to look up and meet his gaze. He had these laughing yet intense eyes with slightly raised eyebrows, showing his interest in me. My hands, hanging by my sides, clenched tight, nails digging into my palms, the pain barely holding back the fear. I forced a smile. Yeah, just too busy usually. Beck licked his teeth, amused. Oh, what's keeping you so busy, sister? Maybe I can help. Such an open gesture from someone like him would probably make most people happy, but it only sent cold sweat down my back. My sister stepped forward, blocking us. Hubby, there are so many people still waiting on me to toast. Only then did Beck let me go, moving on with my sister to the next table after toasting. I couldn't stick around either, grabbed my bag, and made an exit. The next day was the visit back to our family's home. I thought my sister wouldn't want me there to avoid running into Beck, but Mom called and asked me to come back, sounding kinda urgent. I figured Beck didn't join for the visit, so I didn't make up any excuses. Just after slipping on some house slippers, I looked up and saw my sister looking all worn out. Her bright eyes were bloodshot. I understood right away. Beck started on her last night. In a past life, he waited a month before making a move on me. But seeing that $70,000 crocodile handbag explained a lot. Beck's generous, spending on women like water, but it has to be his choice, not the woman's initiative. So, to him, a greedy sister is just a toy he spent money on. And when it's a toy, he'll play whenever he feels like it. No need to pick a time, right? So, the wedding night, same deal. I purposely looked surprised. Sis, how come you changed so much overnight? Then I caught myself, teasing with a laugh. Oh right. I forgot you and my brother-in-law just had your wedding night. It's understandable to be a bit tired. My sister didn't say anything, just stared at my face, trying to see if I was faking it. I blinked. Sis, why are you looking at me like that? Her voice was hoarse, probably from crying and pleading all night. But Beck's twisted like that. The more tears, the more he gets excited. She hesitated but chose to back down. Never mind, sis, you, forget it. Mom cooked a bunch of my sister's favorite dishes, though she only managed a couple of sips of fish soup and a few bites of tofu, clearly having a hard time swallowing. Dad showed concern. Kara, are you feeling okay? My sister forced a smile. Just drank too much last night. My throat's sore. So, Mom rushed to make seafood porridge, and Dad washed cherries for her, making her reluctantly eat a little more. I kept my head down, eating, but couldn't help the smile creeping up at the corners of my lips. Last night was Beck testing her obedience, probably making her eat all sorts of weird stuff, like swallowing live octopus. That's just his first step. He'll get more creative over time, tying her up to do who knows what with his buddies. The real horror is yet to come, like that thick as your arm swamp eel, all slimy and toxic, utterly nasty and twisted. By the way, Kara, is your husband really busy? Why didn't he come back with you? My sister's hand shook involuntarily holding a spoon. Yeah, he's super busy. Dad grumbled a bit. No matter how busy, he should have come back to have a meal with us, right? How much time would it have taken? Mom shot Dad a glare. Our son-in-law does big business, of course, he's busy. Unlike you, a useless man. Then she turned back to my sister, filling up her plate. Don't mind your dad. As long as you and your husband get along, that's what matters. My sister responded, clearly wanting to steer the talk away from Beck, and shifted the spotlight onto me. What have you been up to these days, sis? After sipping on my chicken soup, I lazily replied, not much. Just shopping and traveling a bit. My sister chuckled, flaunting her crocodile handbag. I love shopping too, but not like you do. I clear the shops, getting those exclusive editions everyone else dreams of. Just the other day, I spent over 600 grand in just 2 hours. Mom's eyes widened. Goodness, spending that much, won't your son-in-law get mad? My sister scoffed. He doesn't even care about such small change. He gave me a no-limit subsidiary card to swipe at will. I listened to her bragging with a perfectly timed envious smile, while Mom and Dad were showering her with praises. It seemed like she found a reason to endure being with Beck. Despite the mistreatment, the money let her live glamorously, drawing envy from everyone. That was enough for her. With bravado, my sister announced, Mom, Dad, I'll take you shopping this afternoon. Pick anything you like, and I'll get it for you. Mom beamed, saying, my Kara wasn't brought up in vain. She knows to buy gifts for her parents now that she's got money. Her words carried a hint at me for not buying them gifts. I smiled lightly. I'm not like our sis. She's got more money than she could spend in a lifetime. After buying my house, I don't have much left, so I have to be careful with my spending. My sister, elevated by my compliments, chirped, true, you'll have to make do with what you have for life. Mom, Dad, tell me what you want, and I'll get it. Wasn't Dad talking about getting a sports car? And maybe a jade bracelet? Instantly, Mom and Dad lit up, eagerly discussing what to buy, picking only the finest stuff. My sister, chin raised like a proud peacock, looked at me triumphantly. Sis, you must be so envious of me right now, aren't you? For I chuckled. How many women out there aren't jealous of you? They all wish they could take your place as Mrs. Beck, my sister, with a bossy tone, said. Let me see which hussy dares try to seduce my husband, I'll kill them. They want to replace me. Over my dead body, I smirked and wished her good luck. I saw on her social media the spoils of her shopping spree with mom and dad. A sports car, watch, jade bracelet, and bags, at least a 10 million blown. She's in for a rough night. After that entertainment, I got busy with company stuff, hiring streamers, setting up processes. Once everything runs smoothly, I'll sign up for a management course to grow from a newbie to a real manager. I met quite a few business folks during this time, and would chat about business matters with them over tea whenever we had some downtime. Running a business isn't a walk in the park. I lost over 3 million the first month, but thankfully, we started making a profit in the second month. Not much, but at least the company was on track. The stock market hasn't been great, but I made a little money here and there. While playing golf, I happened to see Beck with my sister and his rowdy friends heading into a private course. Nearby, some guys snickered. Beck's brought his little wifey for their fun again. I walked by last time, man, what a scene. Yeah, he actually lets his buddies play around with his legit wife. Worse than some hooker, right? Ha, who knows? Rich folks sure know how to have fun. I watched them disappear into the woods, feeling complex emotions. In my past life, though Beck mistreated me, he never let his friends mess with me. It's like my sister isn't even a person to him. I mean, she spends so much of his money, he's bound to retaliate. And after the abuse, she tries to cover the emotional wounds with more spending. They are in a vicious cycle. Her downfall is only a matter of time. But my sister, being who she is, managed to get pregnant in this mess. The Givenchys family values as highly. Since Beck is their only child, any offspring is extra significant. Her glow improved a bit, posting glamorous pics that now showed Beck with a gentle, loving gaze. Comment sections are full of envious remarks, saying she must have saved the galaxy in her past life to marry Beck. My sister called to brag. Sis, the doctor said it's a boy, a future heir to the Givenchy fortune. Let's see who can touch my status now. I smiled. Congrats. Is the baby healthy? She boasted, of course. The doc mentioned something about super male. I didn't catch it all, but it means he's strong, right? I almost laughed out loud. It's shocking how little she knows. I kindly warned. I've heard of the supermale syndrome. It might involve violent tendencies. She snapped. Stop cursing my son. You're just jealous you couldn't have a son, but I can. Don't think I don't know your little games. You pretend you aren't interested in Beck, but you're eyeing him, envious of my life. Sis, I warn you. I got rid of you once. I can do it again. I replied. What strange stuff are you saying? I don't get it. She sneered. It's fine if you don't get it. Just know if you try to take Beck from me, I'll end you. Got it, I quipped. Relax, that's not gonna happen. I'll never compete with you for him. He's all yours forever. In my previous life, I got pregnant twice. Both times the babies had supermale syndrome. The doctor suggested it could be hereditary. I suspected Beck might have it, but his looks didn't match. His father, on the other hand, did. Which explains his many women, but only one child in Beck. Because supermales struggle with fertility. Kids with supermale syndrome are intense, inherently violent, impulsive, and often end up bad. With the right upbringing, they could be okay, but I wasn't willing to bet on that in my past life. I felt Beck would end me sooner or later. How could a psycho family bring forth any good? Just as my streaming company secured a $10 billion investment, aiming to grow big and plan an IPO in 3 years, my sister went into labor. An 8-pound, 3-ounce chubby baby boy, ugly even by baby standards, honestly. But to them, he was gorgeous. My sister proudly posted, pre-ordered 10 months ago, just delivered today. Thanks to the in-laws for gifting me a huge mansion. It's my first $1 billion red envelope. In her photo grid, only one pic was of the baby. The rest were all her luxurious rewards from her in-laws. The comments were filled with envy, and I gave it a like. With the baby born, Beck unleashed again. More ruthless than before, with no holding back now. Before, he never hit her face, now he didn't care. Crying to our parents, she dragged me back. Dad was furious, absolutely outrageous. You just gave them a baby, and he did this. No way. I'm confronting them for an apology from Beck. Mom pulled him back. Going's useless. They wouldn't even meet you. Dad slammed the table in anger. They ignore me. I'll sue. There must be justice in this world. I chimed in. Dad, I'll back you up. Sis could even divorce him. 5 before she could finish speaking, my sister interrupted. No way. I can't divorce him. I've worked hard to get here. and if I divorce, I'll have nothing. I'm the baby's mom, Mrs. Beck, and the Givenchy family business will be my son's one day. I'm never letting go. She glared at me viciously. You're just jealous, wanting to replace me, right? I won't let you. I shrugged. All right, forget I said anything. I wish you guys a long-lasting marriage. If she'd listened, maybe she'd still have a chance, but blinded by wealth, she was already delusional. At first, she showed off the baby's photos and videos online, but you never saw her face again. Her facial injuries never healed. She used to spend money like water, but after the baby, she was stuck at home, full-time mom, couldn't spend a dime. That $1 million was supposed to be a reward, just a show really. After she had the baby, they figured she couldn't run, so there's no need to give her anything more. Half a year later, the kid was older, wouldn't say mama or papa, but would yank her hair and bite her while nursing, leaving her writhing in pain. Mom would call me sometimes, cursing Beck for being an animal, calling the baby a little monster, but never saying they'd support her or tell her to divorce. They were scared Beck would demand back all the money she spent on them. There's some parental love, but not much. But she brought this all on herself. The live streaming market was booming, with monthly revenues topping 30 million, supporting over 100 factories. Investors were all over it, eager to talk deals and investment. Originally, we planned to go public in 3 years, but within a year and a half, we did it. I quickly started signing C-list and D-list celebrities for live selling, sometimes even an A-lister for buzz. It cost more, but was super effective. My company became the hottest in the stream market, with quarterly profits matching a year's total profits for a listed company. Other companies started streaming, eyeing the pie, but it was too late. My 3 top streamers had solidified their positions. Even Beck noticed the streaming market and asked me to dinner. My company was under a friend's name, so he didn't know it was me, but I refused him 3 times. This was the first time Beck faced such humiliation, so he turned his anger on my sister. But what finally broke her was when my nephew, armed with a fork and knife, aimed for her eye. That woke her up. She ran back from the hospital, screaming hysterically. He's a demon, not just trying to blind me but to kill. I just happened to wake and dodge. Divorce. I'm divorcing Beck. I'm never going back. They'll kill me. Truly, they're all devils. Dad, Mom, save me. I don't wanna die. But Beck came personally with men to take her back, grinning eerily. Don't listen to her nonsense, folks. She's exhausted from taking care of the baby. She just needs a good night's sleep. Mom and Dad wanted to speak up, but held back, intimidated by the thuggish bodyguards behind him. Against overwhelming power, they chose self-preservation. My sister knelt at my feet, crying hysterically. Sister, let's swap back. You marry into the Givenchy family, please. The billionaire originally wanted you. I won't fight anymore. You can have it all. I just want to live. I beg you, sister, I'm pleading. She started banging her head on the floor, staining it with her blood almost immediately. Beck squinted at me. Oh, so you were supposed to marry me. Now strong enough to confront him, I met his gaze with a slight smile. Uncle did mention it back then. He licked his lips. Your sister's proposal isn't entirely without merit. If you're willing to come back as my wife, I'll let her go. My sister's eyes lit up. Sister, I chuckled coldly. Sis, you've got some nerve. You said you'd never regret it, and now it's too late. You're always so weak, begging like a dog instead of standing up to those who hurt you. Even dogs bark when pushed. You do nothing. Really pathetic. She looked at me with wild, hateful eyes, sprang up, and lunged at me with a knife from her pocket. But I was ready, pulling Beck in front of her, the knife plunging into his gut. It all happened so fast. The bodyguards barely reacted, pinning her down, and rushing Beck to the hospital. The room quieted, just me, Mom, Dad, and the blood pool on the floor. As they took her away, her eyes were filled with despair. Without a strong hand to guide them, my parents turned to me, shaky. Adela, what do we do? Beck won't take this out on us, right? I pulled out my phone, chuckled, of course he'll retaliate. They collapsed in fear, as I called my secretary. Time to hand those documents to the tax office. Have the victims report. Get the media on it. Their stocks will crash tomorrow. Tell the shareholders not to buy in until after they declare bankruptcy. After hanging up, my parents looked puzzled. Adela, what did you just say? We didn't understand. I pointed to the TV with a smile. You'll understand soon enough. 6 breaking news. Mr. Beck, the local billionaire's son, has been accused of raping a minor and murder. The police have taken him in for questioning. Just in, the billionaire Mr. Bob has been reported for long-term tax evasion, illegal smuggling, and assault. He's under police investigation now. The Givenchy family group has been exposed for forced evictions. Their demolition team, full of gangsters, often injured villagers. Videos have been leaked. These big moves have put the Givenchy family group right in the spotlight. Both bosses have been arrested, and people are freaking out. Everyone at my company is talking about this. We're making sure public opinion becomes the last straw for them. The Givenchy stock is plummeting, thanks to our push. No one thought the city's top player would fall from grace overnight. My sister and nephew came back. The other Givenchy folks had already run off with valuables. Few of them are clean. This is the first time I saw my nephew. He's way taller than the other kids. No expression, but those eyes are fierce. One look, and I knew my sister was done for. Beck got 16 years, and his dad got life. He's not getting out. The Givenchy family declared bankruptcy, and I bought it for a steal. The view from the 36th floor is something else. People below look like ants. When I pull all-nighters, I see the bright moon. At dawn, the sun gets wrapped in clouds. No wonder people scramble to climb high. The view really is better. Just when I became the city's first female billionaire, I got a letter from Beck in prison. Adela, I've been reborn too. No wonder I felt that rush seeing you at the wedding. You're my prey. Shame I woke up late. Would have been interesting sooner. Honestly, you're way better than your sister, perfect as my pet. Just 16 years. I'll behave and get out soon. You looking forward to our reunion? Stop by sometime. Or, you know my ways. I laughed, tossed it in the trash, and called my secretary. I forgot to tell you, make sure Beck and his dad get taken good care of in prison. Make them wish they were dead. Understood, boss. Bastards like them deserve to live in hell. Meant to deal with them later, but they came knocking first. My secretary's great, loyal and discreet. Every couple of weeks, I get videos of those two. The once mighty tycoon and prince now bark on their knees to avoid beatings. Beck picked up all sorts of diseases. No value left, just another lowlife. 6 months in, he tried ending it with a sharpened toothbrush. Rescued, of course. That night, he showed up in my garden. He flashed yellow teeth, a creepy grin. Adela, think you can hide from me? I know you did this. Wrecked my company, wrecked me. But it's fine. I love you, so I forgive you. I sipped my coffee. You wonder why I'm here at night, waiting for you. Stunned for a moment, he laughed. My favorite prey. Always gets me. He came toward me, a shiny fruit knife at his side. 2 steps away, I snapped my fingers. Black hunting dogs sprang from the shadows, tearing into him. He panicked, screaming, help. Guess even monsters call for help when scared. But the dogs are well trained, not to kill, just to make life sheer torture. I poured ready salt water on him. He writhed in pain, screaming, think you just got lucky and escaped. Honestly, inside, I couldn't do much. Just make it rough till you wish you were dead. Relax, you won't die. At dawn, I'll call the cops. Your state will land you in rehab. Don't say I don't care. I opened a place just for you. Remember what you did to me. I'll pay you back 100-fold. Everything went as planned. Beck regretted leaving. He found paradise was inside. Countless apologies, countless regrets. I smiled while sipping tea, reading. His cries were just my entertainment. My sister and her syndrome-stricken son, one's finally gone. Her boy locked her in, set fire. A neighbor saved her, calling the fire department. That night, she chopped him up, cooked him. She went mad, sent to rehab too. Now, I find joy. Though crazy, she remembers Beck and tortures him daily. Once, she cut meat from his thigh, roasted, forced it into his mouth. It got too gross for me. Time to focus on work and let them support each other inside. In my sports car, the summer breeze free on my face, I draw young admirers' gazes. My life is just beginning. The end.